They have the hard-hitting analysis.
I'm anti-injury, so maybe this won't work out.
Kyler's only playing one tight end this week, so that's probably going to help him out a lot.
They tell it like it is.
That's not what I needed, Grandma Nut.
All right, the hipster fantasy player.
I don't do anything.
Their listeners love them.
Found all your charts boring, to be frank. Caitlin was the star of the show.
They break down all the statistics.
20 points. That doesn't quite add up. Maybe he had 93.
This is the Snick Snack Sports Podcast.
Here we... All right, Snickers, help me out.
What's going on, guys? How are you doing? Welcome to the Snick Snack Sports Fantasy Football Podcast with Nate Meat Snacks Holmes and myself, Nick Snickers Haley.
What's going on, everybody? We just had a great draft. Finished it up. We have a lot of hot takes already to share, a lot of strong opinions about some of your teams. And we've got Matt joining us on the show in a few minutes, our commissioner, willing to share some rule changes with us. A lot of changes this year. We're excited to talk about it. Let's get into it, Nick. What happened last year?
First of all, last year, my champion, Katie, ended up winning the whole thing over Shane. Got second place, and Kyler finished at the podium in third. But the real story was Katie the entire year, 8-game winning streak and all, just destroyed everybody, it seemed, week to week.
I never believed in her, just like I never believed in Kenny. I was right about Kenny. I was wrong about
They're always right about Kenny. Kenny wanted more smack talk on the show, and we're giving it to him.
That's right. We have some harsh things to say about some of the teams. Maybe part of that's about him. We'll have to see. But we thought it'd be very interesting to start by sharing a little bit about just some of our draft boards last year. So let me pull that up for you all. Let's see. Yeah, if we look at just where things were drafted last year. Interesting right off the bat that you drafted Jonathan Taylor 101. It's not that was a stupid pick.
Jonathan Taylor was the best player on the board.
And what was he drafted the 5th, 6th round this year?
Yep, that sounds about right because he's currently on PUP and not going to be playing for a while. But look at that. Cooper Kupp.
Same situation.
Injured hamstring right now. Christian McCaffrey was on the Panthers when he got drafted last year. And Justin Jefferson seems to be the first sober pick on the board there.
That's right. Yeah, and it was actually kind of a similar first round. I mean, Dalvin Cook's not there anymore, of course. That was due to a team change. Alvin Kamara's not there anymore. Joe Mixon dropped out a bit. And then I was the
DeAndre
idiot.
Swift is not a first-round pick anymore.
So I say about half that, it's this you forget about the turnover year to year. But DeAndre Swift, I don't think anyone was knocking that pick last year. It wasn't a good pick. It
was not.
Just
Travis Kelce was at the end of the second round last year.
And that ended up being a great pick. He was not old busted.
No, you guys are going to see in a second exactly where he got drafted this year.
And then just scrolling through here, some early, or now we're getting into some picks that might have been a big payoff.
A.J. Brown in the middle of the third.
I'd forgotten that we thought Michael Pittman was going to be so good. Did anyone even pick him? It would have been like 10th round if they did.
He did get drafted this year, but yeah, look at that. You got Chris Godwin again this year.
Yeah, Kyle Pitts ended up being in the 3rd round last year. We were just all in a...
Patrick Mahomes in the 4th, man.
Yeah, and here in Chelmsford, we were making fun of John for picking Kyle Pitts in like the 6th or 7th round this year. So a lot of things have changed. Allen Robinson, that was a very famously bad pick last year. Josh Allen, was he the first quarterback off the board in the 4th round? We had like 5 quarterbacks off the board by this point. So some very interesting stuff there.
Crazy how things change from year to year. Yeah, let's look at what our draft board looks like this year.
Yeah,
just
this
happened a couple
year,
minutes ago.
For comparison, here they are. So yeah, of course, Justin Jefferson, first pick.
Travis Kelce, the second pick. Hey, he's gonna be the best tight end. Why not pick him second? Because you're not getting any of these other guys in the first round. That's why you don't pick him second. But we'll see how it goes out. Bijan Robinson, I actually kind of love that Carson went for it. He wanted Bijan. He wasn't going to get him any other place here, so he had to take him there.
I think it's a supportable pick. I mean, he's not expected to, that wasn't where he's projected, of course, but I think he's he's a rookie. Sometimes you got to shoot your shots. There was a lot of talk about how Christian McCaffrey went in the 6th pick here. He is a little bit more injury risk than some of the other guys. Of course, everybody's an injury risk, but I don't think that's outrageous.
And Ducky loved grabbing Derrick Henry at the 10th overall pick. And he's obviously been the best running back in the league since he got drafted. But he is getting older. It's not snowing in Vermont yet, so we'll see how all these picks turn out here.
Yeah, Cooper Kupp in that bottom of the first, that could be a great pick. But if his hamstring ends up being like a 4-week, 5-week injury, also it looks pretty dumb. But if we start just, I'm going to scroll all the way down to some of these later round picks. I'm curious, Snickers, who you stand out as, man, that was a smart pickup at this point.
So I love Tua as a backup quarterback in the end of the 9th, and then Quentin Johnston in the beginning of the 9th round. He's going to be really good. I know that's my pick. He's not protected well week 1, but he will be getting up there real quick here.
I think that Michael Thomas in the 9th round was actually a really smart pickup. I just didn't notice him sitting there. Maybe he was even further down the draft board, but he's somebody who's shown it in the past. He's obviously not been lately, but in the 9th round, why not?
If you can turn back the clock, Michael Thomas is the record holder for most catches in the season with 149. So,
and we're also seeing some really, really good keepers. Obviously, Tony Pollard in the 9th. I don't want to give John credit here, but Amon-Ra in the 10th.
Sun God.
Going down here a little bit more. So maybe some future keepers. Tank Bigsby, we're all curious how he's going to pan out. Anthony Richardson, I know you picked him up in the 11th. He's not your primary quarterback, but that's where you want to pick him.
Yeah, but Devon A-Chain, Nico Collins, Dalton Kincaid, all these young guys that, might end up doing super well this year and might end up not really doing anything. We'll have to see how it goes.
Yeah, it was interesting for me to see just throughout this because, of course, this is our first year with defensive players. I didn't know where they were going to go. I personally was thinking I'm drafting them at the end. There seemed to be plenty of talent, but there was a lot of different opinions, and I think it was going to be a lot of debate over the season of how we should be approaching this position.
No, especially the outside linebackers are obviously the ones that are going to get most tackled, probably going to be the ones that get the most points. But I liked, I think it was very late rounds. Matt picked up Derwin James, who's best safety in the league. And even though he's not projected to score as high, he's going to get some picks, and he's going to do very well this year.
Yeah, and just shout out to mid-tier Nick. He picked Kenny Pickett in the 14th round. And that was his QB1. It was like the 17th quarterback off the board or something like that. I am worried that with the expanded bench this year, that it's going to be hard to stream quarterback. So I picked up a second one. I wonder if that is really going to come back to bite mid-tier Nick, but we'll hear more about that in a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, before we get too much more into this, I think we want to have our brave leader, Matt, onto the show to tell us about the rule changes so we understand what's going on. So welcome, Matt. So Matt, I know there's a lot of different rule changes that have been going on throughout the season here, or throughout the off season. And why don't you tell us about what we should be expecting in the upcoming football season?
Sure, I think you're oh, my computer might die in a sec. That's not good. Everything's still connected. There we go. Okay.
Yeah,
my
so
computer
we
has
got
a
defensive
poor
players
battery
here. What's going on there, man?
Yeah, first I'd like to address the Jackie blanket here. Fantastic recommendation from Jackie. Great New Hampshire, it's great in Colorado. So on the rule change front, we do have individual defensive players starting this year. We have a punter at request of the league champion and an additional bench spot to accommodate the 2 new starting players. So I encourage everyone to review the scoring. Most of it is default. We also have a couple of new point tweaks. Quarterback points are now 0.04 points per yard, which equates to 1 per 25. So you get credit for every yard, much like running backs, wide receivers. Same philosophy there. You no longer are penalized for overall misses. So if your kicker misses a 60-yard field goal, that's fine. We did increase the penalty for missing 30, 40, and I think 30 and 40 only by 1, right? So that accounts for that 30-yard missed field goal. Now is -4 instead of -3. So, it's essentially just accounts for people getting the 50-yarders that are probably misses, but teams looking for points. And the tiebreaker is bench points, much to everybody's disagreement. After last year, we had nearly 2 ties. So bench points is the tiebreaker.
That's right. We'll see if that was a rare event or not. Looks like we have some guests who are welcome to stand behind us if they'd like to.
This was supposed to be abrupt.
We got a couple things to say.
Yeah.
Real quick.
Okay.
Matt, one problem with the league. Not enough bitches.
Too many hoes.
Too
What do
many
you have to
hoes?
say about that?
Okay.
Well, that's certainly not bonerific now, is it?
Is that so? Second thing, now I may or may not have requested you scramble the schedule.
Which I did, and
I would
spilled the
like
beer
you
over.
to undo that. I had an easier schedule before.
Nope.
I would like to go back to that.
Most of a beer is on my balcony now because of that. So here we are.
No, I like the schedule change. I've been playing the same guys, multiple times for 10 years now. So
I don't know why ESPN doesn't randomly schedule it every single year.
I agree. They should make it easier for me.
Agreed. Now I have a question about the rule changes, Matt. I specifically was wondering how in the world are we supposed to treat defensive players? There was a huge debate around here about should you draft them early, should you draft them late? Is they're kind of like a tight pack of like the top 5 players? Maybe there's 20 players who are all equally good. Hard to say. What do you think?
I think I misweighted the defensive players. So corners and linebackers are going to be worth a whole lot more than D linemen.
yeah.
We were
No,
actually debating here as well. And if you took a defensive player before the 7th round, you're an idiot. Is effectively what we found.
That's kind of what I thought too. And I don't think there's really a way to balance all the defensive positions because they all score differently, right? There's someone who's like the linemen score mostly by sacks. I know you kind of nerfed sacks a bit. But,
yeah.
Like tackles seem to be the thing we care about.
Yeah, you don't want to be reliant on picks because those don't come every week.
Right. Yeah, I think it turns into you want someone who's going to make about 9-10 tackles a game.
Mm-hmm.
Picks
There's
are worth
plenty of players who do that. Who are on the board.
Right. Mostly linebackers.
So if you drafted a defensive end, like say Max Crosby, that might have
And
been
that changed why I picked 2 more defensive players for my roster after I realized I screwed up.
So the key was to draft as many defensive players as possible.
We'll find out.
But do kneecaps count for bonus points? We're only asking because Detroit seems to be a fan of kneecapping people.
Kneecapping is not extra points.
I'm sorry, buddy.
ESPN's down on the system. They just don't understand.
Well, thank you guys for joining us.
You're welcome.
We did think that, so it makes sense you'd add an extra bench spot for that. The early strategy seemed to be that bench spots were not being used for defensive players for the most part and rather being used to pick up maybe an extra quarterback, maybe just some extra skill position. And I'm wondering if it's end up going to make the pool of streaming quarterbacks very small. What do you think?
Quarterback is tough. I think running back might actually be the position to be concerned about. I think a lot of people reached for a lot of running backs this year. Like I was looking in round 12, 13 for running backs that were picked in round 9, 10.
Yeah.
So people I thought should have gone, low teens were already gone. I'm like, oh no, I need a running back. I think people are a little concerned after last year where teams are running 2, maybe even 3 running backs in a given week. So I think quarterbacks, there's plenty of options available if you don't have 2. Most people have a starter and then just your 1 week fill in. So
yeah, that actually is a good segue, Matt, into it. We were going to, first of all, renew our bet this year. As everyone saw from the video we just posted, Snickers lost last year, as a reminder. This year, we were going to do the bet system again. And our first week's bet was just about who has the worst week 1. Overall, who has the worst team, but that's not going to resolve itself immediately. But there are 2 teams that we were both like, wow, we really disagreed with their picks. And one of them was because of the lack of running backs. So my pick this week would be John's team. And so I wanted to explore that team with you for a second. You can tell me what you think, Matt. If we look here, this is John's matchup versus Kyler. And he has Josh Jacobs for running back 1. That's great. Brees Hall he's a good player, but I don't think he's going to be good for the first several weeks. He's coming back from a pretty serious injury. And then we look down at who else he has for running back. Gus Edwards, Kyron Williams. That's the end of the story. One of those people is probably playing in week 1.
Yeah, I like Brees Hall as a long-term solution. I think he will win the starting job from Dalvin Cook come week 5.
Right, but
I think Dalvin Cook starts
like
the first
5
4 weeks
losses
of
to
the
get
season.
there.
I think John's strength is actually going to be his running back room or his wide receiver room. Sorry.
Oh, he's got a
CeeDee
million
Lamb and
good wide receivers.
Amon-Ra
Keenan
St.
Allen's in his
Brown.
flex.
Yeah, Keenan Allen, he's got the sun god and he's got the truck driver. So, and he's got the best defensive player in the draft in Louis.
He has 3 really good wide receivers. He has 2 wide receiver 1s and 3 wide receiver 1s, and I'm not sure the Chargers necessarily spread the ball around a whole lot. But I mean, I don't think John's in a bad spot with 3 good wide receivers. He can acquire a running back if he needs one.
We'll see. It'll depend on some astute kind of waiver wire pickups in the first couple weeks. Now, is John that type of player? I don't know yet.
But Amon-Ra St. Brown is a 9th round keeper next year, so he could trade Amon-Ra St. Brown for a king's ransom.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. But Matt, the team that I multiple times commented during the draft was not drafting well, and I didn't like their team at all, was mid-tier Nick Adams, your brother-in-law here. He drafted a kicker and defense before he drafted his first quarterback, which is in like the 15th round, Kenny Pickett. And I mean, I know Kenny Pickett's probably going to be better than last year, but he's not a good player. I don't know what's going on with his team here. Let's see, what do you think here? I know J.K. Dobbins isn't great. DK Metcalf and Travis Etienne are good, and the rest of his team is kind of questionable. Obviously, Travis Kelce, the 2nd overall pick.
I think this is a sneaky good team.
You do.
I think we're all going to look at this team and be like, that's trash. I think George Pickens is going to be a top 5 wide receiver in the league. Kenny Pickett, as much as pains me to say it, is going to make a 2nd-year leap this year. Pickens and Deontay Johnson are 2 very good wide receivers. They have a very good defense, and they have a running game between Najee Harris and Jalen Williams as their backup. So they have a running game, they have a passing game, they have Pat Freiermuth. Like, he has people to throw the ball to, and their defense is really good. So I think Pittsburgh is a sneaky good team, and the fact that he can pair Pickett and Pickens come week 3 is going to be really good.
Yeah, I mean, I know
initially not a great team. Week 3, 4, 5, this is going to be a really good team.
No, it's definitely not a bad argument there. I know Pittsburgh's a popular pick to be doing well this year, but I have them getting 3rd or 4th in their division still. I'm not sold on them yet. We'll see how it goes. But out of those 2 teams, John and Nick's, Matt, who do you think has the worst team here?
For week 1, it's Nick.
Yeah.
Yeah, how about on the season? Is there any team where you're concerned about them if you just kind of remember what happened in the draft, or just from watching around?
Can you scroll to show me Kenny's team?
Kenny? Yeah, Kenny's playing Snickers. Justin Herbert, Christian McCaffrey, Aaron Jones, Devonta Smith, Calvin Ridley. I mean, he got a steal with Calvin Ridley. That was, I think that's going to be a great keeper for him.
Yeah, actually, looking at Snickers' team, I'm actually concerned about that one.
Yeah, you concerned about my team?
I like Fields. I don't like your running backs. I think neither is going to be a long-term starter. I don't think Watson's going to have a very good year outside of Aaron Rodgers. And Cooks in the flex is suspect at best, with CeeDee Lamb and Schultz getting a lot of the targets from Dak.
Yeah, I mean, luckily Schultz is actually on the Houston Texans now, but no, you're definitely right about my running back room. That's definitely the weakness of my team right now. I went kind of wide receiver heavy to get Justin Jefferson immediately, and obviously kept the mini giraffe there. But I think I got a lot of youth on the team. I think halfway through the season, near the end of the season, my team's going to be very strong going into the playoffs.
Yeah, I see Snickers' team as a high risk team. I think it could pan out, but I agree that those 2 running backs both could not turn into anything this year. Like you could be looking at people that are droppable, but they also have the potential to be running back ones. So
Yeah, and I do think you reached on Richardson a little bit. I think I got him in a 14th, 15th round a week ago.
Yeah.
So I'm concerned with the longevity and health of Justin Fields.
Yeah.
And I don't think a rookie quarterback is a viable backup to Justin Fields.
No, I kind of see Snickers' team as like the classic high upside, low floor team that we could see go either way. I mean, there are some teams that are playing it safer here. I might even consider my team one of them. But yeah, this a lot of outcomes, wide range of outcomes for you, Snickers.
No, absolutely.
But yeah, anything else you'd want our league mates to know, Matt, going into the season?
Katie is willing to trade any player that does not have a smile. So if she has a player that doesn't have a smile that you want, she'll probably take a trade offer.
I see. So she was basing a lot of her draft picks, you're saying, off of the picture.
Yes.
Let's see if that's true. The thing that stands out to me right away, Matt, is that DeAndre Swift has a big smile.
That's why she has DeAndre Swift.
Oh, she wants the smile.
She wants the smile.
She wants the smile. Very nice. Well, then she's got a very stubby looking team, if that's the case.
I have to say, she does have the best punter in the league. Tress Way is the best way.
I'm glad that we have some clarity on what we can do to work with Katie on this.
Yes.
Trade this year.
Now, the returning player does have to have a smile. That's the caveat. Right?
In this particular picture.
Right.
And if DeAndre Swift, for example, were to get traded and take a new picture where he's not smiling, that'd be a big deal breaker for her.
Big deal breaker.
Yeah, so I mean, hopefully they'll just replace the uniform like a Photoshop and keep the smile. He's got a lovely smile in this picture. If that were to happen. Well, we appreciate that insight, Matt. And I think that is all we had for you guys. We're excited for a big season.
We're excited to be talking about weekly matchups. We're going to be talking about all our bets. We're going to have Caitlin on for our hot takes every single week here. We're going to be interviewing guests. It's going to be a blast. We can't wait for the rest of season 2 here.
Yeah, and as you may have noticed at the beginning of the episode, we have a new intro, which was put together by Shane. Thank you, Shane. Thank you, John, for the animations. And thank you, Matt, for joining us here today.
Absolutely. See ya.
All right. Yeah, well, take care, everyone, and we will talk to you next week.